Hello Tubesters, it's me Gav and welcome to the third instalment of this bust from Medieval Forge Miniatures. It's a Soviet fighter pilot from 1943 to 1945. At the moment I've done a fair amount to the face, as you can see. There's a couple of bits I still need to play around with. I'm not happy about the colour of the lips. I don't want to make them too cherry red, but I think they may be a bit dark still. The eyes, because the brows are quite low, you don't see a lot of them anyway, but there's not a lot I can actually clean up of the eyeballs, but I still want to work around the eye region a bit more. I don't really want to put any more highlights on. I've tried to get a real fleshy look, you know, so there's lots of different colours in there. I can't even go into the ones I've used, particularly started off using Vallejo's, but one thing I do find with Vallejo's are if you mop the face too much glazing, it tends to give it a shiny effect, as it did on the very first bust that I painted, the Lucky Jack, and this one went the same way. And it was also, I think I've gone too dark on the base coat, to be honest with you, and I've brought it up using scale 75 colours, which are a lot darker, but added to the Vallejo's, they've given it a tiny bit of a shine still in areas where I'm happy with, because most faces have a bit of a shine to them. That's what I keep telling myself anyway. And yeah, I've put the scale 75s on, so I'm sorry guys if there is anybody wanting a paint recipe for the face. It really, I've just hit it with everything really. I followed a basic recipe from Jason Zhao, and if you go on Putty and Paint, look at Jason Zhao and as an artist, and I think he gave a description of his main colours that he used on the Hamilcar Barker bust that he painted, and I followed that to a degree, but I went a bit too dark I think, and I paid the price for it, so it's taken a while to get the colours blended in the way I wanted to. So I know that's as clear as mud to most people, but it's just in case somebody asks me for a recipe. I really can't give you it, because I've used that much in different areas I couldn't even begin to remember which ones went where. I think with faces, and if you're going to do like a fantasy type face, it's a bit different, but I really like the realistic look I'm going for on historical figures. It's just obviously this is my third bust, and the second bust I did was a fantasy type figure anyway, so I've got a lot to learn yet. So that's the face. He is stuck down now. I needed to stick him down. I was going to put some blue tack on, and I thought not a chance, because after all the work I've done, I'm bound to knock him over and knock his head off. So the head's attached. I need to work underneath the. I'm only being a bit gingy because I haven't mounted this, as I said before, the torso on a thick enough wire really, and it keeps twisting around. I'm a bit worried that the whole thing will fall off if I'm not careful. But just around the neck area, which is why I wanted to attach it, I needed to see where the shadows were and whatever, so I need to put a few more shadows, which I like to use the English uniform. So there's bits there, and there's bits, not too much underneath. I went a bit silly on the shadows on the fur, and I just need to blend that out a bit. They're a bit dark in places. In fact, I haven't got a pointy stick. I normally have my pointy stick, and I've lost it. So let's use this bit of a grubby cocktail stick I've been using to mix paint for my aircraft. So yeah, the goggles, I've followed the box art from Stanislav, and obviously not painted it half as well as his. It doesn't look so good on the videos, but when you look at the photographs, for a first attempt I'm quite happy. I've painted the lines in, I've painted the inside where this padding is, I've painted it where it comes under the goggles to still form the padding, and a bit of darkness, and some I've put some horizontal lines. I had to think that and a few other lines just to add some depth to the metal of the goggles. They're white metal. The only thing I'm not massively happy yet with, and I'll still have to do a bit more work to, is the actual outside of the goggles. Some are actually rubber. You can also paint these like in a stony grey, like a greeny grey colour I've seen as well. And because they use these, they're more or less the same goggles that their tank guys were using. And I've seen a lot of ones which are up for sale these days on eBay, and they're like a greeny grey. But wartime colorized photographs I've seen, they're in this type of colour. The only difference is some of them look rubber, and Stanislav, by the look of its paint, because he's a great textual, he paints a lot of texture in his busts and figures, and he looks like he's gone for the rubber look. And I was really, in two minds what to do, because it has like a corduroy type look as well to it, which I have seen, and I've seen some period ones where they're like a corduroy type material or a felt type material. So I've got a bit more work to do on them yet, because I'm not really happy with how they've turned out. So there's the goggles look a bit better. I'll stick some photographs on at the end. I've been playing around with light, the light in my light box. So if they all look the same, it's just because I've been trying different light variants. This helmet is a museum one that I've seen, and the stitching was white. I've gone for more of a not beige, but I can't even think of the colour now. I've used one of the wood colours actually, a very light wood colour, because I didn't want it too blinging, too white. The museum piece actually had this is black on these ear where the microphones go into, or the earpieces. They were actually black stitching, but I wasn't sure whether it was either added on afterwards, or even if it was where they've been treating the helmet, with a bit of, not polish, but some type of stuff, and it's actually just blacked out the colour of the leather's actually saturated into the stitching. So I've left the stitching white. It's not a big issue. As I say, these are all, the jackets, the helmets, they were all issued separately, and it's not beyond reason to say different factories did different stitching, and obviously when they were repaired. Things I've got to still do, I believe these here, I'm not sure if it's actually for the microphone might even go into these, or whether they're just press studs, but these metal holes need to be whitened the same as these, and a bit of colour put on them. That's for the throat mics. I've textured again, that was a museum piece, it showed it like a bluey grey. That's what I've gone for with that. I've not wanted to beat up the helmet too much, so I've put scratches and a few little dents in, which probably aren't showing up under the light. Still got to attach this, which I can't get to now because it's behind this blackboard, but still got to attach this section piece here, this piece of harness, and here where the two holes are, there's the ring pull for if that's what they call it, for the parachute. And then I've still got to do a bit more shadow areas, but I didn't want to mess around any more with the shadow areas on the straps until the back piece is on and this piece is on, and they're only halfway through painting. So guys, that's what we've got so far. There'll be a tiny bit of work, as I say, done to the face. I'm not going to overcook it now. It's all a learning curve. This is only my third bust, so I want to go down the route of realism in my face painting, so when it comes to these type of subjects. So it'll all be a bit hit and miss for the next couple of years, but I'm quite happy with that. I wasn't happy a couple of days ago, but I don't know how long it's taken to get the face. The face has probably been about 16 hours, 12 hours. I've been doing some late nights with this one. And the flying helmet itself has been another, I don't know, I'll lose track, but yeah, a good few hours in the helmet as well. But and the goggles were terrifying. The goggles really were terrifying. As I say, you're trying to, with the goggles, is add some depth, add that depth look. When you first paint them out in the helmet, they look great. You just paint them exactly the same colour, but it means that obviously it's so high up from the original helmet that although the colours look great, there's no depth to it. So and obviously the light reflections, it is just unless you're somebody who gets everything first time, it's going to take a while. As I say, I hold my hands up. I just tried to copy what Stanislav had done. Obviously, first attempt it was never going to look like his work, but No, I'm quite happy with those. As I say, the photographs, it looks a bit better. They seem to, under a light, with the light slightly bouncing off it, it tends to make it a bit more glazy look to it. So guys, thanks for stopping by and taking another long-winded look at this this 1 in 10 bust. So 1 in 10 resin bust, medieval forge miniatures, Soviet fighter pilot from 1943 to 1945. So you take care of yourselves. I hope everything's going well with your projects, and we'll catch each other very soon on another video. Cheers.